I would argue about, I would talk about this very differently, sort of rising above it. So as if you're not, it's what you're suggesting is, oh, now I'm no longer part of it, which I guess is possible. You could just rise above it and no longer be part of it. Okay. Um, but it's not really the purpose or the point is to kind of make an impact, right? And I guess so it kind of comes, so this is the way people tend to think about it. And you can tell me if this is how you've thought about it in the past. There's I can be in the whole shit fight, with everyone else and be with no control over my emotions and just be part of the whole shebang, right? Or I can step away and not be part of it over here. Like, these are my options, which is this classic dualistic way of thinking that we grow up with in the West that pervades our thinking in so many ways that it's hard to really get a grip on until you've left it aside and gone and lived in other cultures. You know, I would put it differently. I would say, okay, here's the actual deal. You can sit in this whole mess, if you like, right? And with everyone else, just be in the grip of your emotions non-lucidly. So to not know that it's happening and just reacting with everybody else. And maybe that's really dynamic and you're really into it. It's a common argument I hear from people who've never thought of anything else. It's an argument based in ignorance. So then, or you've got a situation where you could have yourself in amongst everything and completely lucid in your emotions, in as much as you know that they're happening to you, you understand what's happening to other people as well, right? Then with that understanding, you go, okay, well, actually I can say and do things that maybe stop things from blowing up. Yeah. Then from there you go, well, actually, if I really understand compassion, how it works, not just some pop psych or conventional understanding of compassion, know how it works and what it's for and how to wield it, right? Then you can be lucid in your emotions, understanding what's happening, and then actually be reacting in this kind of skillful way that actually starts to improve the whole situation for yourself and the people around you, right? Which I would argue, and maybe this is a radical idea, but I would argue that's going to make your experience of the whole thing far more worthwhile. And then at some point you say, well, actually, I'm above this. I'm just going to go sit over here. Fine, you can do that. Certainly not what I'm advocating. You can rise above it and just not be part of it. Sure. In fact, there's a whole, there's two main divisions of Buddhism, right? The first kind of cut that you make, and one is exactly that, the first type, which is what you find in Thailand and Burma, Sri Lanka. And that's what it is. Like, oh my God, this is a mess. I'm just paraphrasing. This is such a mess. I need to get out. Like, I'm just causing more problems. I need to get out and get out. And that's it, you're done. And then there are other traditions that come, say, Japan, certainly Tibet and parts of China, where it's a bit different. It's more what I'm saying. It's like, oh, wow, I could actually get a handle on how all this works, stay in amongst it and be helpful, right? And not only be helpful, but as I'm being helpful, actually feed off that so it actually helps myself. You've heard me talk about this before. Compassion requires suffering, right? If there was no suffering, then you wouldn't need compassion, which would be ideal, right? But at the moment there is. So you focus on it and you can turn that difficulty, suffering of yourself and others into compassion for yourself, which changes your mental health, your outlook, and your capacity to help the people, yourself and the people around you. So there you have it. I'd be really interested in what you think about this, but the idea that, becoming unemotional, which, as you know, I'm always, like I've said so many times, you can't do it and it's a bad idea. So I'm not gonna entertain the idea that that I'm advocating for unemotionality. That's absurd. But I've never said it. So, but the idea that what you're going to do with this is up to you, and you have these choices. Okay, God, this is a mess. I'm just going to figure out how it works, settle down, and I'm just going to remove myself from it. Go, oh, fine, that's okay. But and then what's open to you there is this idea of the mindfulness and introspection training. A bit of the insight training is what will get you there, right? But then if you want to make meaning from the mess and actually have a meaning for yourself and have an impact on others, you need to stay in amongst it. But you need to stay in amongst it lucidly. You need to know what's going on. As long as you're in amongst that mess and you're non-lucid in your emotions, at the very, very best, it's possible from time to time you're not causing any problems. But for the most part, you probably are. It's like jumping into an ocean to save a drowning person if you can't swim, just to pull a 1,000-year-old analogy out. So I hope that's helpful. I reckon there's probably a few things in here that sparked some controversy and some ideas. Maybe that was one of them. So write them down, have a think about it, get in touch with me. come along on Monday when my internet should be restored, or I'll make sure I'm somewhere where I have internet, and we'll talk about it then. All right, thanks everyone. Speak soon. Bye.